Oh, I can't wait. Look, Indiana has been dominant all season long, undefeated, and the only team to win in the college football playoff when coming off a bye. That's this year and last year. And that game was against Alabama in a game that was not close, like ever. Now they are one win away from the national championship game. But a date with Oregon happens tonight, a rematch, if you will. And if IU does not make the title game, or better yet, win it, would we consider this season now a disappointment? Cam?
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to what RC had said earlier in saying that the Miami Hurricanes is probably the most similar team to SEC. I disagree with that, and I'll say it's Indiana. Why?
I respect that.
Because Indiana reminds me more of Nick Saban-led Alabama team more than any other team in the last couple of years, because it's a team where the personality is not over-exuberant. Well, the face of that team is Coach Kurt Cignetti. Mm-hmm. Nobody else. You can't tell me if Fernando Mendoza has personality, the receiver has personality. You can't probably name me multiple players on defense. That's not what that team is. That team is led with just do your job. Be the best version of yourself. We got 5 to 6 seconds of each and every play of strain and get the most from it by holding yourself accountable. Well, if they don't win tonight, I look at it through the lens of they are also ahead of the curve. We've never looked at Indiana in the way that we looked at Indiana now. Do they have the best talented team? No. But some will argue, even myself would say, they're probably the most or the best coached team in all of college football, and it has shown. The way that they create distractions and disrupt opposing teams, whether in the run game, whether in the defensive side of the ball, they capitalize on those mistakes, and they bring a physical brand of football that not a lot of teams expect because of the notion it's Indiana. So I don't think that it'll be a disappointment. It'll just be something that, okay, they're right on schedule for the next year.
Go ahead, S.A.
I think it would be disappointing. And the reason why I think it would be disappointing because it's not a Big Ten or an SEC school you're going up against in the national championship game. And because of that and because of the veneer or the perception of those conferences, at least before this playoffs, being considered superior, I think if you're Indiana, you representing the Big Ten, and Michigan handled its business 2 years ago, and Ohio State handled its business last year, and you, having never won a national championship in your school's history, find yourself in the pristine position of being able, just a game away from being able to pull that off. I do think that in a lot of people's eyes, it would come across as a disappointment, because let's call it what it is. They're the favorites tonight against Oregon, and if they handle their business, they'll be the favorites on the national championship game against Miami. Having said all of that, I think it's something that we have to remind ourselves about when they went up against Oregon and they beat them 30-20. They were struggling. I mean, you got a running game that's been dominant all year long, that just finished rushing for over about 215 yards against Alabama when they annihilated Alabama 38-3, over a week ago. And now here you are sitting around and you're reminded of the fact that their running game wasn't that effective against Oregon earlier this season. With Mendoza against the pass, who's been elite, like a top 5, top 8 quarterback in the nation against pressure. Oregon blitzed him about 41% of the time. He wasn't as effective against Oregon as he's been against everybody else. When it gets to this level of play, as you two know considerably more than me, palms get sweaty, backsides get tight. And if you're going to have struggles in the regular season and those struggles come to the postseason and you leave Oregon in this game in a position to win it because they're pressuring Mendoza and he looks a bit rattled there, we say, Oregon might have a chance. And you've got people like E.J. Manuel, who's doing an outstanding job covering college football for us. He was on my show the other day, guys. He's got Oregon beating Indiana. That's one of the reasons why.
Well, it's not a disappointment if they don't win a championship. Shea Cornett, I'm about to put her out there, went to one Indiana football game when she was in school, and she loves sports. You know why? Because not even they cared about Indiana football. You know who cares about Indiana football right now? Everybody. Courtney Cronin wanted to throw hands with me on this show when I was just talking about their perception. It wasn't even my opinion. Mark Cuban is donating all the money he was going to have to give Luka, he's trying to give it to Indiana now so they can go win championships. This year is already a success. It's been 80 years since they won a Big Ten championship, and they did that. They ain't never won a Rose Bowl. Every expectation that's been created by this team has been because they've over-exceeded all the other expectations. Do I expect them to win? Yes. Is this season a disappointment if they don't? No. Remember, it took Saban 3 years at Bama to win a championship. They are right on. Actually, they're ahead of schedule. It ain't no disappointment.
And also, Indiana, a disappointment? Absolutely not. They have 0 5-stars on this team. 0. Every team they've played has multiples. They have like 7 4-stars. Every other team.
Who will the Canes play? It's the Peach Bowl. Undefeated Indiana taking on Oregon. These Ducks looking to avenge their loss back in October where Indiana won 30-20. Hoosiers looking to reach the national championship game for the first time in program history and send quarterback Fernando Mendoza back home to face off against Miami.
As promised, Sam Acho back on the program to do a deeper dive into the Peach Bowl tonight. It's a 5 versus a 1. Sacho, what has Oregon's fatal flaw been during these playoffs in your eyes?
It's been their pass protection. Going back to Oregon's one loss in the regular season was to Indiana. They got sacked 6 times. Dante Moore did. And the problem with that is you can do things to try to slow down a pass rush, maybe keep a tight end in or a running back in. The problem is Oregon has really good tight ends, one named Kenyon Sadiq, who's going to be a first-round pick, who needs to be down the field receiving the ball. And so for me, it's going to be what Dante Moore does on 3rd down and 4th down. When you get sacked early in downs, all of a sudden it's hard to convert. They were 3 of 14 in this game, their first game versus Indiana. Oregon was on 3rd down because of all of those sacks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say if that's the blueprint, who wins?
I think Indiana wins this game, and it's not just because of what they do on the defensive side of the ball, but it's because how poised and confident they play on the offensive side of the ball. It seems like anytime there's a clutch moment, Fernando Mendoza and his receivers step up. Maybe it's Charlie Becker, a guy who was like, man, who is this guy? Until some other guys went down with injury. Maybe it's Omar Cooper Jr., who really is their #1 receiver. Or maybe it's Elijah Surratt. Really, both of those guys are 1 and 2. Every time, whether it's Penn State, whether it was his first game versus Oregon after Fernando Mendoza threw an interception, no matter what the situation is, it seems like the Indiana receiver trio, along with Fernando Mendoza, always make the right play in a clutch moment.
If you were to project it forward now, Hoosiers and Canes, because you have Indiana winning the Peach Bowl, who has the advantage in the projected national championship game?
I give Indiana the advantage there as well, not only because of what they do in the passing game, but also they can run the ball. If Fernando Mendoza isn't getting it going in the passing game, Indiana has a dominant running attack as well. They're sound on defense, led by linebacker #4, Aiden Fisher. So even though Miami is in the national championship, if Indiana makes it, I like Indiana to win it.
It's a home game for Miami, but also if Indiana gets